I know. So, and with age also they get damaged and the veins extend. But you can see the veins in your hands. You know, if you put them like that, they get bigger, or in your face. If you're going upside down, you get veins popping out. When you stand up, they get smaller. So they're extensible. You can stretch and they're pliable.
Wait, so the muscle contractions are those in the veins?
No, it's in your legs. When you walk, when you run, you massage the veins, you bring the blood back.
Okay.
That's why the liberation therapy doesn't.
Well, that's another story. It's a long story.
The liberation therapy for people who have MS here. For what?
Have multiple sclerosis.
Clear out the vein.
So, now, how do you, so the heart will pump out the blood that will bring, here we're just talking about the oxygen, and the nutrients, etc. So if you're going to do exercise, how are you going to increase your output? Josh?
Well, as the heart contracts faster, it pumps more blood.
Yeah, so your rate?
Would increase the requirement for the lungs to, blood would be going faster through the lungs because it requires more oxygen much more quickly.
So you can increase your heart rate, and that will increase your output. So, and Liam, another way to increase your output, if you want to do, if you're exercising, you need more oxygen. You're using more energy.
Heavy breathing.
Just from the delivery. Daniela?
Eating.
How long? Huh?
Eating.
No, just to deliver the energy to your muscles.
Oh, muscles, not.
So, breathe. Okay.
No, I was trying to think. I don't know.
It's so you increase the rate of the pump, just like you increase the acceleration when you're accelerating in your car. You increase the RPMs, but there's another thing you can increase also to increase the output.
Lung capacity?
No, just the heart. Just think about the heart. Please.
Do it change the size of the tubes?
Not quite, but it's getting there. It's the stroke volume. It can fill more and push out more. So your the stroke volume.
How do you increase that?
It does it automatically. But you need the blood to do. You need the preload. You need to have the venous return to do it. So if you're dehydrated, or if your blood pressure is too low, there's not enough blood going in, you can't to fully fill your ventricle, and so your blood pressure will drop. But so these are the two elements that you can to increase your output. To increase your rate, so your heart rate, and we can measure that, and increase your stroke volume. Just the ventricle, your left ventricle is going to stretch out, and it's going to squeeze more blood at a time. Now, and in your lungs, what are you going to do you're going to have to deliver more oxygen and exchange more CO2 with oxygen. So what are you going to do? So you're going to increase your rate. And another thing that you can do,
Increase your muscle contraction.
are you going to breathe shallow?
Deep breaths.
So you're going to increase your tidal volume. So per breath, you're going to take a bigger breath. But
Faster.
same thing. And so there's more, so that increases your ventilation. And you have more exchange. Now the other thing we're going to measure is blood pressure. And blood pressure is an arterial phenomenon. So, go right on this. And when you measure blood pressure, there are two numbers. One is a systolic. The first number is systolic, and the second number is called diastolic.
Yeah.
Does anybody know what they mean?
Oh. I remember Pablo explaining this to me.
Pablo.
Yeah.
Oh, Pablo.
Yeah.
Who's Pablo?
I can't remember Pablo.
Yeah. Who's Pablo?
The nurse.
Came
Oh,
in
those
for
are
Spanish
cousins.
class. Their cousin?
All
Yeah.
all the nurses at the clinic, remember?
Yeah. I heard
Good
he told me
Oh,
the
he's a
stories.
nurse? What? He's a nurse? I thought he was like a film like
Oh,
that.
yes.
No, that's
Is it-
not what that's his blood.
Mm,
Bubbles?
That's
No.
the blood pressure. This is
Yeah, when you measure blood pressure, you say it's 120/80.
Okay.
That's well done. So 120 is a systolic.
Isn't one for the arteries and the other for the vein?
No, no,
One's
the
going
blood
up?
pressure is all arterial.
Okay.
The veins, it's compressible. If you squeeze it,
Okay.
it's going to go nothing. This has three walls. There's just 3 layers. It's rigid. An artery is rigid. So when you measure the systolic is right after the contraction. When the ventricle contracts, there's a surge in pressure. Okay, so it contracts. And then the diastolic is the residual pressure.
When it comes back in on the right?
No. When the ventricle contracts, then it expands. While it's expanding, there's still pressure in here.
Mm-hmm.
That's diastolic pressure.
So systolic is the contraction.
Yeah, so the blood goes whoop, whoop, blood pressure. Okay, and with each contraction. So there's a resting phase, there's a filling phase. So it pumps, it fills, it pumps, it fills.
So the systolic is right after the contraction.
Yeah, that's
So-
your peak.
That one's naturally, generally, should be higher.
Yeah, it should be higher. And the diastolic is after the contraction, in the resting phase, while it's filling. That's the,
What would it mean if it were with diastolic pressure was higher? Is that even possible?
it means that there's no contraction. There's no pumping. There's very little pumping being done.
Probably means you're dead.
No, either that
Well, if there's
or
pressure mild, you're not dead.
or the pressure is very, very low
Mm.
in your system. So now, how does everything is under control? How do you increase your heart rate?
I'm moving your body.
But I mean, how does your body do it? Does it?
If you use more energy,
But who and how? Who tells your heart rate to go faster?
The brain?
when
The
you
brain.
do something,
Yeah, and it's through the. You have the. Yeah, the brain controls everything. The brain is the master. Coming from a neurologist. So there's the sympathetic And then there's the parasympathetic. This will make you go faster. It will increase the rate and increase the stroke volume. The fight or flight is sympathetic. That's the autonomic, it's called the autonomic system. So when you, yeah. It uses norepinephrine as a neurotransmitter. So it innervates the heart and it will make it go faster and increase the stroke volume. And the parasympathetic does the opposite. It will slow it down. Okay? And the sympathetic also affects the blood vessels, the arteries. The veins, nothing changes with the veins. It's just a passive system within the system. But the sympathetic and parasympathetic can affect the arteries as well. See, there's one of the layers in the arteries is the muscular. The middle one is muscular. So they can contract and they can expand. So when you go into cold water, your arteries will contract and your hands will widen and cold.